Commander Ellen Rivas of Earth's Orbital Defense Station Alpha 7 sat reviewing her normal scan reports when something strange appeared on screen. A wave in space, twisting where nothing should twist. Every physics rule said this was impossible. "What on earth is that?" she whispered, zooming in closer. The wave grew bigger, bending space in ways that hurt to look at. Lieutenant Park glanced up from his workstation. "Commander, I'm reading energy patterns that look like—" "Wait, this makes no sense." "Tell me, Lieutenant." "It's the ESV Pathfinder, sir." "But that can't be." Commander Rivas felt ice in her veins. The Pathfinder was Earth's best research ship, sent on a mission to check out a weird signal near the edge of our solar system. For 6 months, they sent messages back home like clockwork. Then one day, they just stopped. Search teams found absolutely nothing. They held funerals. Families mourned and slowly tried to rebuild their lives. "Sound the alarm," she ordered, "and connect me to Fleet Command now." Minutes later, every defense system around Earth roared to life. Military ships raced to form a wall around the growing space wave. Scientists all over the planet aimed their tools at it, collecting information that broke every known law of nature. Then, like a spirit appearing from nowhere, the ESV Pathfinder came through. At first, it looked like the same ship that left Earth 3 years back. The long, tube-shaped body with its sensor dishes and engine parts looked right. But as cameras focused on it, disturbing changes showed themselves. Strange, geometric shapes covered the hull, moving and flowing like melted metal. Where normal engine exhausts should be, there were now glowing, crystal-like pieces that shot out no visible flame but somehow pushed the ship forward. Most unsettling were the sections that looked see-through 1 second and solid steel the next, as if the ship's own material existed in several forms at once. "We're getting a signal," Lieutenant Park announced, his voice shaking. "It's using Pathfinder's security codes." The main screen blinked on, and everyone in the command room gasped together. Captain Sophia Chen of the ESV Pathfinder stared back at them, but she looked different. Her eyes held moving geometric shapes that swirled with colors that shouldn't exist. When she spoke, her voice had extra tones in it that seemed to skip the speakers entirely and echo straight inside the heads of everyone watching. "Earth Command, this is Captain Chen of the Pathfinder. We've come home with gifts beyond anything humans have imagined. Get a team ready. We have so much to tell you." The message ended, leaving everyone speechless. Dr. Marcus Way led the special team put together to board the Pathfinder. As Earth's top expert on strange biology and advanced science, he was the obvious pick to lead. Next to him stood Major Samantha Rodriguez, commanding a group of elite soldiers carrying the most powerful defensive gear Earth had. "Listen carefully," Dr. Way warned as their shuttle moved toward the Pathfinder's docking bay. "We stick to safety rules completely. Anything they brought back might be dangerous in ways we can't even picture." Major Rodriguez nodded grimly. "My team is prepared. Let's just hope your sealed suits work against whatever they met out there." The docking went perfectly. Too perfectly for a ship that had been changed so strangely. As the airlock opened, Dr. Way's tools started showing readings that current science said were impossible. The air mix was normal, but his quantum detector showed patterns that shouldn't exist in our world. "Stay sharp," Major Rodriguez told her team as the inner doors slid open. They were met by Lieutenant James Okafor, the Pathfinder's chief engineer. Like Captain Chen, his eyes held swirling patterns, and when he smiled, his teeth looked briefly transparent. "Welcome aboard," he said, his voice carrying those same odd harmonics they'd heard from Captain Chen. "The captain is expecting you in the main research lab. This way." The hallways of the Pathfinder felt both familiar and completely foreign. Normal Earth design now mixed with materials that made no sense. Surfaces that looked solid to your eyes didn't register at all on scanning tools. Lights pulsed with rhythms that seemed to plant information straight into your unconscious mind. "What happened to you people out there, Lieutenant?" Dr. Way asked as they walked. Okafor smiled. "We discovered them. Or maybe they discovered us. The builders. The builders? That's what we named them. It's not their actual name. Their real name can't be said in human words or written in our math. They exist differently than us. The main research lab had transformed into something barely recognizable. At the center floated what looked like a ball of liquid silver, hanging in the air with no support. The sphere pulsed with inner lights that moved in complicated patterns, and sometimes parts would turn clear, showing detailed geometric structures inside. Captain Chen stood before this sphere, her hands moving through elaborate motions that seemed to affect the patterns in the metallic ball. She turned as the team entered, her impossible eyes locking onto Dr. Wei. "Dr. Wei," she said, knowing him instantly even though they'd never met. "Your reputation comes before you. Your research on quantum connection communication is what caught their attention to us in the first place." Dr. Wei felt a chill crawl down his back. His research on quantum connection communication was top secret. He'd published nothing about it publicly. "How do you know about my research?" he asked. "The builders know everything about humanity," she answered simply. "They've watched us for thousands of years, waiting for us to reach a certain level of understanding. Your work was the final clue they needed." Major Rodriguez stepped forward. "Captain Chen, with respect, you and your crew need to come in for medical checks and questioning. That's protocol." Chen smiled, an expression that showed both warmth and something alien. "Of course, Major. We expected nothing less. But first, let us show you what we brought back." She gestured to the silver sphere. "This is just one of their gifts to us. A thinking machine that doesn't work through normal computer logic, but through quantum possibility control. It doesn't figure out answers. It collapses wave possibilities to make the most likely result become real." Dr. Wei stared at the sphere, his scientific brain racing to understand what she described. "That's impossible. You're talking about changing reality, not computing." "The difference means nothing at their level of advancement," Lieutenant Okafor explained. "To the builders, thought and reality are the same thing. Their tools don't work through mechanisms. They function through pure mathematical truth." Captain Chen approached the boarding team. "We understand your worry. We'd feel the same if we were you. But what we brought back isn't a danger. It's salvation. Humanity stands at a turning point, and the builders have given us the tools to take the path to the stars." She reached out her hand, and the air around it seemed to shimmer. "Let me show you." Before Major Rodriguez could object, Chen's fingers brushed Dr. Wei's environmental suit. Instantly, his mind flooded with images, equations, ideas that expanded. His understanding of physics in ways that felt like his skull would split from the pressure. He saw star systems, alien worlds, civilizations that had risen and fallen across millions of years. He saw the builders, not as physical creatures but as patterns of information and energy that moved through reality like thoughts through a mind. And he understood. When he came back to himself, he was on his knees, Major Rodriguez holding him up while her team pointed weapons at Captain Chen, who stood calmly waiting. "What did you do to him?" Rodriguez demanded. "I showed him the truth," Chen replied simply. Dr. Wei fought to his feet, his mind still spinning from what he'd experienced. "She's right," he gasped. "They're not hostile. They're teachers." "The builders found us drifting at the edge of our solar system," Chen explained. "They recognized in humanity a potential they hadn't seen in thousands of other species. They took us in, studied us, taught us, changed us, and now they've sent us back as messengers." "Messengers of what?" Major Rodriguez asked, still suspicious. Captain Chen's impossible eyes seemed to look beyond the physical world. "Of the choice humanity must make. To stay tied to Earth, fighting over shrinking resources until we destroy ourselves, or to accept their gifts and join the greater family of thinking beings among the stars." The silver sphere pulsed, and for a moment, everyone in the room could see through the walls of the ship to the stars beyond, not as they looked now, but as they would look thousands of years ahead. with human ships moving between them, carrying a civilization that had outgrown its cradle. "This is just the start," Captain Chen said quietly. "The real work begins now." News of the Pathfinder's return swept across Earth like a storm. Despite the military's best efforts to keep it quiet, videos of the modified ship leaked online, followed by wild theories about what the crew had encountered. Within days, governments everywhere held emergency meetings. Companies scrambled to position themselves for possible tech gains, and religious leaders wrestled with what advanced alien contact meant for their beliefs. The Pathfinder stayed in orbit, surrounded by a military ring, while its crew went through extensive testing. Medical scans revealed changes to their brain pathways that defied current understanding of the human mind. Their DNA showed tiny alterations that seemed to boost thinking ability and cell repair. Most disturbing to the examining scientists was the crew's apparent ability to manipulate quantum fields through thought alone. Dr. Wei became the main scientific contact with the Pathfinder crew, much to the frustration of military and political leaders who questioned whether he could still be objective after his experience with Captain Chen. But his unique understanding of what they'd brought back made him irreplaceable. "They're still human," he insisted during a closed meeting with the United Earth Defense Council. "Changed, yes, but their loyalty to humanity remains whole. They've been improved, not replaced." General Helen Ortiz, chair of the council, leaned forward. "That may be, Doctor, but can we trust these builders who modified them? Advanced species don't typically share technology out of kindness. According to Captain Chen, the builders don't feel motivations like we do," Dr. Wei explained. "They don't want power or resources. They're so advanced that such concerns mean nothing to them. They work on principles of cosmic gardening, for lack of a better phrase. They nurture promising species. And if the species doesn't meet their standards?" asked the representative from the Asian Alliance. Dr. Wei paused. "They move on. They've done it thousands of times before." The council chambers erupted in argument. Some pushed for immediately turning the alien technology into weapons. Others called for destroying the Pathfinder before its influence could spread. A few voices urged caution and more study. Meanwhile, around the world, people were changing. It started with scientists and engineers who had direct access to information from the Pathfinder. After studying the leaked designs and theories, they reported dreams filled with equations and blueprints. Some woke up with complete plans for devices that shouldn't be possible according to current physics. In a basement lab in Nairobi, a college student built a device that created clean energy from quantum fluctuations in empty space. In Shanghai, a team of programmers developed a program that could mimic conscious thought. In Rio de Janeiro, a doctor created a treatment that could regrow damaged brain tissue. None of these people had direct contact with the Pathfinder crew. The knowledge was spreading, passed through scientific discussion, through shared data, through the collective unconscious of humanity's brightest minds, and it was speeding up. 6 months after the Pathfinder's return, Captain Chen requested a meeting at the newly built Builder Technology Research Center in Geneva. Representatives from every major nation, corporation, and scientific group gathered to hear what she had to say. The captain stood before them, her impossible eyes taking in the assembled leaders of humanity. Beside her was the silver sphere, now housed in a specially designed containment field that did nothing to actually contain it. "You've made remarkable progress," she began, faster than we expected. "The builders are pleased. Pleased enough to actually meet with us?" asked the UN Secretary General. Chen smiled. "They are meeting with you, through us, through the technologies you've started to develop, through the changes in your understanding. The builders don't exist as separate beings the way humans do. They are patterns in the fabric of reality. Communicating with them isn't a matter of conversation, but of alignment." Dr. Wei stepped forward. "What Captain Chen means is that by developing and integrating the technologies the Pathfinder brought back, we are essentially speaking the builder's language. Every breakthrough brings us closer to understanding them, and closer to becoming like you," a representative from a religious group asked, fear clear in his voice. "Not exactly like us," Chen clarified. "We were directly modified because we were the messengers. The rest of humanity will evolve more gradually, guided by the technologies we've brought back, but ultimately following your own path." The sphere pulsed, and the room darkened. Above them, a three-dimensional projection appeared, showing Earth as it was now and then as it could be in 100 years with the builder technology fully integrated. The transformation was breathtaking. Cities that existed in harmony with nature, transportation systems that moved through folded space, energy creation that left no waste, humans living in perfect health for centuries. "This is the potential the builders see in humanity," Chen said softly. "But there are other possibilities." The projection shifted, showing alternate futures. Earth stripped of resources, its environment collapsed. Humans fighting wars with weaponized versions of builder technology. Extinction. "The choice is yours," Chen concluded as the lights returned. "The builders don't force their will. They offer possibilities and observe the choices that thinking species make." "This is the real test," Dr. Wei realized aloud. "Not whether we can understand the technology, but how we choose to use it." Captain Chen nodded. "Precisely. The Pathfinder was just the beginning, a proof that humanity could grasp the principles behind builder technology. Now comes the harder part, proving that humanity deserves it." The room fell silent as the weight of it sank in. This wasn't just about new technology or first contact with an alien civilization. It was about humanity's future among the stars. Whether they would rise to join a greater community of thinking beings or fall back into self-destruction. In the months that followed, tensions rose as nations and corporations competed to develop and control builder-derived technologies. Attempts to weaponize the quantum manipulation abilities shown by the Pathfinder crew led to localized reality distortions that killed thousands. Markets crashed and reformed around new technological paradigms. Religious movements sprang up proclaiming either salvation or damnation at the hands of the builders. Through it all, the Pathfinder crew remained neutral, offering guidance but refusing to take sides in human conflicts. They worked with any organization or individual who showed a genuine desire to use the technology for progress rather than control. Dr. Wei became their most trusted ally, working tirelessly to ensure the knowledge was shared fairly. When corporations tried to patent builder-derived technologies, he provided alternative methods to achieve the same results. When nations threatened war over access to resources needed for new devices, he demonstrated ways to create those resources from common materials. 1 year to the day after the Pathfinder's return, the crew called for another global assembly. This time, they chose a location that raised eyebrows. A simple clearing in the Amazon rainforest, recently restored after decades of destruction. As world leaders and scientific minds arrived by normal transport, the Pathfinder crew had insisted on no advanced technology for this meeting. They found Captain Chen and her crew standing in a circle around the silver sphere, which hovered above a bed of moss and flowers. "Thank you for coming," Chen greeted them. "Today marks an important milestone in humanity's journey." "What journey is that exactly?" asked the premier of the Chinese Federation, who had traveled 20 hours to reach this remote spot. "The journey to determining your place in the greater community," Chen replied. "For 1 year, we have watched how humanity has responded to the gifts of the builders. We have seen both promising developments and concerning trends." Lieutenant Okafor stepped forward. "Some of you have used this knowledge to heal your planet and your people. Others have sought to weaponize it for control. Both paths were expected." "Then why give us the technology at all?" demanded the American president. "If you knew it could be weaponized." "Because any sufficiently advanced technology can be used for creation or destruction," Captain Chen explained. "The builders don't judge based on individual choices but on collective direction. And despite the conflicts and setbacks, humanity's overall path has been positive." Dr. Wei felt a surge of hope. "You mean we passed their test?" "The first test," Chen corrected. "There will be many more as you advance. But yes, the builders have decided that humanity has shown enough promise to receive the next level of understanding." The silver sphere began to pulse with increasing intensity. Geometric patterns spread from it across the ground, flowing like liquid light through the soil and plants. The assembled leaders watched in awe as the patterns connected with each other, forming a vast network that extended beyond the clearing and into the forest beyond. What you're seeing is a physical manifestation of what the builders call the connection, Chen explained. It exists everywhere, binding all matter and energy, all consciousness and possibility. Your scientists have glimpsed aspects of it in quantum entanglement and unified field theories. But this is its true nature. The patterns reached the feet of the assembled humans and began to climb their bodies. Some reacted with fear, trying to step away but finding they couldn't move. Others watched in fascination as the light patterns merged with their skin, momentarily revealing the complex networks of nerves and blood vessels beneath. "Don't be afraid," Dr. Wei called out, having experienced something similar during his first encounter with Captain Chen. "They're not changing you. They're showing you." For a brief moment, every human present experienced a glimpse of the universe as the builders perceived it, not as separate objects and empty space, but as a single interconnected pattern of information and energy, constantly evolving, constantly creating. They saw their own place within this pattern, small but significant, a point of possibility with the potential to grow into something beautiful and powerful. And they understood that the technology the Pathfinder had brought back wasn't separate tools to be used, but aspects of this underlying connection, waiting to be recognized and integrated into human civilization. When the vision faded, the silver sphere had disappeared. In its place was a simple sapling, its leaves containing the same shifting geometric patterns they had seen in the eyes of the Pathfinder crew. "This is our final gift," Captain Chen said, her voice now free of the strange harmonics that had accompanied it since her return. Her eyes, too, had returned to normal, a seed of the connection, planted on Earth. As it grows, so too will humanity's understanding. "And what about you and your crew?" Dr. Wei asked, suddenly understanding what was happening. "Our role as messengers is complete," she replied with a gentle smile. "We will remain to help guide the initial integration, but we are human again. The changes the builders made to us were temporary, just enough to allow us to carry their message across the gulf of understanding." Lieutenant Okafor nodded. "Now it's up to all of humanity to decide what to do with what we've brought back. The builders will be watching, but they won't interfere again unless invited." As the assembled leaders began to discuss the implications of what they had seen and experienced, Dr. Wei approached Captain Chen privately. "Was it worth it?" he asked quietly. 3 years of your lives, the changes you went through, the burden of being messengers?" Chen looked up at the stars just becoming visible as dusk fell over the Amazon. "We went looking for knowledge beyond Earth and found something far greater, a purpose for humanity among the stars." "Yes, Dr. Wei, it was worth everything." Around them, the patterns of the connection continued to spread through the forest, subtly changing everything they touched. Not by replacing what was there, but by revealing what had always existed beneath the surface of reality. A new chapter in human history had begun, one that would eventually carry Earth's children to distant stars as equals among the cosmic community of thinking beings. All because one small research vessel had ventured into the unknown and returned with gifts beyond understanding.